right. Awesome. Well, we are kicking off 30 Food Safety with Vera Dickinson. Vera, we are interviewing the brightest minds in food safety. So excited to have you here today.
Well, thank you. That was a compliment right there.
Well, would love to hear just how'd you get into the food safety space? And yeah, how'd you get in? What's your journey been?
Well, that's interesting because it prompts me to look back in my past, and what I'm realizing is what I do is very intentional. So food safety journey was also intentional. I was in my mid-20s. My daughter was just born. My first daughter was just born, and I was obsessed with her health and just really wanted to bring some value as well to the society, really. And I was really considering going for an MD, but the 10 years of being in grad school and being in debt was not very aligned with what life looked like at the time. And so another opportunity was at the University of Vermont, was the graduate program, food safety program. And the lady who was leading that program, Dr. Kathy Donnelly, was one of the most prominent listeria scientists, and she just inspired me. She's just I think my first kind of like a mentor, ideal also of a working woman. And so she just inspired me so much that I wanted to go in the field. But the most important one is I never wanted to do something that would not bring like broad benefit to the surrounding world. And so food safety, of course, is so profound. You can honestly bring so much value if you're passionate about the field.
Yeah.
So I still believe in it.
Yeah. Wow. And I love too, I think something I hear a lot is people like the small side of food safety or the individual side where it's like you as a mother want to take care of your daughter, but then also the macro impact where you're producing lots of food. Anything else, like what's your why that keeps you going kind of day to day besides that impact?
Well, I think my why is wired to who I am as a human, as a person. And what drives me is I really enjoy innovation. And coupling innovation with food safety is just a logical thing for me.
Yeah.
And so my why is bringing innovation to food safety, to product quality, to create a safer world. And so that's why I've founded InnovaQ and really live this dream, this why every day of my life.
Yeah. And would you mind giving a rundown? I know you started at Disney, you've been, at global companies, catch us up like where you've been up to InnovaQ at this point.
Yeah, so after graduating with my PhD from UVM, I worked for Disney for, I think, 5 or 6 years, and then moved to Chicago. I worked for Mondelez International, then Mars Wrigley, then moved to Denver, Boulder area in Colorado, worked for Danone, and then my last role was with Sargento Foods.
Wow. And any of those places, do you feel like you really grew a lot, or at different seasons, like which one of those were you like, wow, that really changed a lot?
I think every single one of them was just a huge learning for different reasons. I mean, first of all, if you want to grow, you've got to find opportunities that really stretch you. So I feel like the first 20 years of my career, I always told myself my job was to learn. And so I was intentionally sticking myself in crazy programs, or, if there was some interesting task that was happening, I would always volunteer. So Mondelez probably was the biggest learning opportunity for me, because my boss at the time, Peter Bagg, he gave me, he believed in me and gave me a lot of opportunity to stretch. So, from common food safety and quality programs, moving into Six Sigma, right? Field that I was not familiar with at the time. Yeah. But him supporting my education at DePaul University, and then supporting my, again, innovative streak in bringing something new to the to each area that I was leading. It was really an amazing experience. I think I carry it through still, and want to be a leader like that who believes in other people to this extent.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I think too the mentorship side of food safety quality is something that, John, who we spoke with a few weeks ago, is talking about. Like, you have to find mentors and
Mhm.
and learn, and then when you're in your position, you can pay it forward.
But I think the best mentors are actually best learnings in general in life come from areas that you're not familiar with. So my best mentors in my life were from supply chain, from procurement. The most interesting conversations I would ever have, either philosophical in general about the field or about quality or about supply chain, were with this individual, Mark DeShooter. He was the head of procurement for Danone North America. Fascinating individual. We would really dissect what quality means to somebody like himself,
Yeah.
and listening to his perspective and challenging me to think through quality activities in a completely different way, bringing some knowledge from suppliers as well, from suppliers not just of raw materials, but of like external manufacturers, right? His partners. It was fascinating. So that's the best mentors.
Yeah, get outside of the food safety silo and find everyone else.
Yeah.
I love that. Any other challenges kind of in your career, or any big challenges that come to mind? Yeah.
Well, I think it's not without challenges in any field. My biggest challenge is probably overall as a senior leader has been trying to put money where the mouth is from cross-functional, peer group standpoint. Because what happens in manufacturing, I mean, it's quality and food safety is non-negotiable, right? Customers, consumers demand it. I mean, the government demands it, so there's no way around it. However, when we talk about investments in food safety and quality, in some areas it's difficult to justify, particularly those activities and those innovations that are not very well known, not very well established. There's a lot of hesitancy to lean in. I would say, like in functions like sales and marketing, there's a lot more, I would say, fearless attitude to adopting new technologies. And in food safety and quality, it's a little bit more difficult. So I think it was probably the biggest thing that you had to churn through. I felt like I always had to convince people to do the right thing. Not with every company, but putting larger budgets and support of the team and so on. So that was not easy. But I think another challenge is, man, think about our space. The regulatory framework is just so incredibly confusing, right? If you work for a global company, you have, like, I will say, give you an example of Mondelez. I think we were present in 140 countries.
Wow.
I mean, that's the regulatory footprint of all those countries. And every country tries to be somewhat different. There's a different take on the same thing. I mean, the concepts are very similar, but in food safety in particular, but still, it's very difficult to navigate that space. One of the products that we've just launched actually plays to that weakness and helps global companies to really navigate these compliance requirements with ease. Again, this is where generative AI comes about and shines, right? But that was hard.
Yeah.
So many people.
Was it staying on top of like evolving regulations? Was it the legal side? What was the specific challenge there?
All of the above. It's the whole point of understanding different regulations and laws required a subject matter expert on the ground, right? So it's the inflated organizational design. You had to, and those people are expensive to hire.
Yeah.
And then I think the most difficult one is all the meetings that would need to be put in place to understand how different regulations actually apply to you in a specific scenario, right? With the specific product and ingredient line and manufacturing line and so on. And it's just very cumbersome process. Again, Gen AI can literally strip away this complexity so easily. It's a completely different way of looking and managing food safety and quality and regulatory requirements. Yeah.
And both those challenges, it sounds like, conveying like the regulatory side to leadership and understanding, interpreting it, and then relaying it, but then also like the budget side of relaying like, hey, we need to do this for food safety versus this is just like a nice to have sales and marketing tool. It sounds like food safety for you has been a lot of like translating, interpreting, and then kind of spoon feeding it to executive teams.
A lot. You're spot on. But it doesn't work as straightforwardly, right? So you still need organizations like legal department, like compliance department, to support you in those views. It's not really easy.
Yeah. Any big mistakes you've made along the way, or any regrets that you've had on the food safety quality front?
This is a very good question because, I was just presenting at the University of Texas, and they asked me to present on this specific topic. The conversation was about failures and lessons learned, and I honestly cannot think of one. Not because I haven't made them. I made so many. Oh my God, almost every day, right? But it's because I look at these situations in your life, the ups and downs, as the natural flow of life.
Yeah.
And if you don't fall, you really don't have the opportunity to stand up back again, but stand up higher, learning something, getting better.
Yeah.
And so every time I fall, it's almost like pause. Okay, that was good.
Yeah.
It's like punch in the face. Okay, it woke me up and it taught me something. And I'm going to be even more fearless after that. And so if I look back at my life and my career, everything had to happen the way that it happened because it prepared me to be here right now.
Yeah.
And to become the fearless, leader who stands up really firmly on the 2 feet, fighting for the things that I believe in proudly.
Yeah.
And so having said that, I mean, it's, I think the biggest, probably, I wouldn't say, maybe a regret for food safety, not for myself personally, but for food safety. And specifically for my colleagues, I wish we had a more appetite for innovation and for change. We're just such a, conservative function.
Yeah.
Understandably, we have to be because, I mean, we respond to the consumer base, right? We are responsible for their health. It's no questions asked that anything that comes through the pipeline into a food and beverage or any manufacturer has to be evaluated, right? But there are ways to do it safely. Innovation doesn't have to be reckless.
Yeah.
So we really right now looking at how we're deploying AI, and it's, there's a lot of hesitation about AI for obvious reasons and in many areas, but you can do it in small bites and then learn about it in shape of a pilot. Grab one plant, look at how it works on one plant level or one function, and then slowly expand. So there, this whole principle of agile deployment. I mean, it really does work. And I just wish that food safety professionals just leaned in a little bit more.
Yeah.
For every suggestions or change, I would have 100 no's. And this is why it's not going to work. 100 to 1 probably. And then there would be one little soul saying like, yeah, I think it makes sense, and then eyes sparkling.
Yeah.
I think the new generation is going to help us with that.
Yeah. And it's hard too, because like you said, it's like, how do you take people who are constantly, their job is to identify risk, mitigate risk, eliminate risk as much as possible, and in one field, and then ask them like, hey, as you're considering adopting technologies to do that, like take a leap of faith, be that one soul that raises their hand. It's a hard challenge for sure.
Yeah. But like I said, I think the new generation is, I'm seeing the new generation of people who do not take no for an answer more than somebody of my age group.
Yeah.
We were more compliant to the voices of leadership, or, this is what everybody does.
Yeah.
I look at my daughter, she's 24. I look at my team right now at InnovaQ, we're almost half and half, mid-age, and then a lot of youngsters, graduates with, masters or doctorates. And it's, they have the mentality of, why can't we? Like, tell me 100 reasons why I can't. Because I believe in it, because I've seen technology or process work somewhere else. So yes, we can.
Yeah.
And that's our slogan. Yes, we can.
Do you see that trickling up in the food industry? Like, why do you think that's changing? Do you see that change coming from the bottom up, where maybe QA managers are, selling up to directors?
I do not. Well, okay, I have to step back. My world is a little bit different right now, right? I work with early innovators and companies that love innovation and actually lean in. And so the groups of people that I work with are just outstanding in terms of their creativity as well, and trying to think outside of the box. Here's technology, but we can use it here, as well as what we thought that we can use this technology in. But I also work with students, right? With, like I mentioned to you, UT is here, and my team. And when we go to also conferences and I see public and reactions, I just see more and more younger population, because they grew up with technology. For them, it's like second language.
Yeah.
They are mega interested in seeing what the future is going to look like for them as well, right? With all these news that come about, different models popping, AI models popping up all the time, and they're just curious about that world. And so that's where I see that the curiosity, and I think it will translate eventually. It has to, it must.
Yeah.
Because these are our future leaders that are going to take our spots. And hopefully with companies like InnovaQ, like yourself, like your company, we can bring enough, like, let's think about it a little bit from a different angle, challenge people in a healthy way. And hopefully that momentum is going to start rolling. Well, I honestly, I believe in it. There's just no other way, Paddy.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's inevitable 10, 20 years from now. It's more just a matter of, how quickly will things be adopted and when.
Well, I always say that this is an interesting race, right, that's happening geopolitically as well. It's whoever adopts technology the fastest will be ahead of the curve in terms of competition, outracing competition.
Yeah.
So the question is, for food and bev, I mean, logistics, prices for materials, your costs of making a product, they're not going down. You have to find ways of cutting costs in other ways, in some other areas, right?
Yeah.
And when I think about what AI, the savings that AI can generate for companies, you can't just ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
You will have to adapt it or eventually die.
Yeah. What areas do you see in food? Like, where is AI going to generate the most cost savings? Because I think most people think about it like, hey, we're getting product in, we're processing it, we're packaging it, we're shipping it out. Where do you see AI disrupting the most within a food organization?
Well, of course, what's dear to my heart is the products that we've developed. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, because I think has been a never-ending, race for optimization of your manufacturing process. Of course, procurement and supply chain organizations have the most pressure from that standpoint. So every year they would have a percent of savings that as a target, right? That's tied to the bonuses and all of that. And honestly, through the years, you look at these numbers and you're like, it's just, you can't squeeze more lemon juice out of this lemon.
Yeah.
The way that we're looking at the process is that, intuitively, you also know that when you go on a manufacturing floor, you see that there's a lot of waste, whether too many people on the line, maybe those folks are not always knowing exactly what needs to happen. So they're kind of fluctuating between different activities. You see a ton of waste just on the floor, some, and God forbids you have something happen with your line, right? Stoppage. Yeah. Then you have to toss the product potentially, re-sanitize the product there. The line stays idle, so you do not produce the product. So the latest study, actually in 2024, a study came out saying that an average US manufacturer will lose about 20 to 40% of their revenue due to these wasted activities and physical waste.
Wow.
And so we looked at these numbers and we started thinking, if you have a better governance of how the process happens, even when you look at your data, right, that's right now dispersed all over a little bit, and quality organization uses quality IT system, and then you've got HR over here, and then you've got manufacturing lines recorded somewhere else. So actually, when you pull all this data together and you have an opportunity to look at this data in real time and have an opportunity to be alerted when critical to quality parameters are out of order, and not just coming from quality organization, as we've known it. Yeah. And then you have time to react to these situations in real time, because in our case, our products will provide to you immediate insights as to what collectively is happening. If one KPI is going out of target, what else is happening in your network? Yeah. And it generates to you insights into what the data tells you cumulatively, but then also recommendations based on FDA. For example, in our case, we're practicing FDA right now, requirements. And so you've got like a full package to say, okay, something stopped. There's no delay happening for people trying to find a subject matter expert to tell them what to do. The application actually gives you all the tools right there and then. But you also have the opportunity to build forecasts from all this comprehensive data, so you can predict when the next issue comes your way. So in this way, you're actually reducing waste quite significantly using AI.
So you don't see it as, it's not replacing people necessarily, but you're saying it's reducing waste of product, reducing wasteful downtime, people resources, man hours that could be redirected elsewhere.
100%. That's an interesting myth that we all are afraid that AI will come and then jobs will be cut. Look at the beginning of last century when industrialization happened. yes, some people were out of work, but they had to requalify. So I think what's going to happen in the future that some of the low tier work that can be honestly replaced by robots or AI will be, but a human will now have the opportunity to work on really value add activities. So
Yeah.
imagine the floor where folks are actually engaged in activities when they know what to do, right? That they know how to react to situations. They're supported with AI to do their job that much more effectively. I
Yeah.
think it's a happy workplace. That's what it becomes.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're saying that AI will replace things that are maybe more of a science, like this thing needs to be broomed and cleaned versus like there are things in food, like I've seen in slaughterhouses, people are hacking away at meat and you're like, that is an art. Like that is, those people know
Oh yeah.
exactly what they're doing. Like there are parts of it that'll never be replaced
Oh,
because
I
it
believe in it.
needs to do this.
And the part that's never going to be replaced is our ability to make decisions. So I always tell my clients that don't think of AI as your ultimate answer, even if it generates recommendations based on regulatory requirements. You know your location better. You are the final decision maker as the
Yeah.
leader. Otherwise, imagine a world where there are absolutely no humans and robots replace us altogether. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Hopefully. You watch Terminator, it becomes scary, but
But you
but
see AI as more of like a co-pilot
it
than
is a
replace.
co-pilot. It's a helper.
Yeah.
It's a very good example of I can't write emails anymore without my co-pilot because why would I?
Yeah.
It just does such a better job in such a short period of time. Honestly, doing administrative tasks now is just a breeze.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So that's interesting. I love that you see where you see it headed. Anything on that lane? Like, what's your hottest take in food safety right now? I'm assuming it's in the realm of AI, so I'm just gonna jump to it.
No, always. Well, because I think about it all day long, right? I read about it all day long. I talk to people who are just, entrenched in it. It's that, yeah, it's what I live today. I think AI is going to completely change the way that we look at food safety and quality.
Hmm.
I think that at some point we need to look at it as a financial advisor and investor looks at the market performance. It needs to happen continuously. You need to have insights and have the ability to trade, right? To make a trade in real time, to
Yeah.
act in real time. You have to have the ability to or have access to really good forecasts to drive you forward. And I really think, another thought that continues popping in my head, although it's very controversial, but if you think about a lot of our, when we do root cause analysis for issues, a lot of it goes back to human behavior. And I keep
Mhm.
thinking, how on earth can you manage human behavior if it's the most unpredictable thing that you will ever come across, right?
Yeah.
And now generative AI has the opportunity to read images, continuous videos, right? And you think about all the say in plants right now for as a part of food defense program, you have to have, well, a lot of companies will have video cameras.
Yep.
So I wonder, although I have personal challenges with this approach for many reasons, but I wonder if eventually, for example, a process of auditing could be replaced by continuous auditing
Yeah.
and continuous auditing of manufacturing lines, right? We already have some visual inspections and all of that, but imagine if you had that continuous stream of information that AI could analyze, including someone not changing gloves, for example, properly, or intentionally doing something malicious,
Yeah.
but catching it in real time. And if the human behavior can be corrected, you could do it in real time.
Yeah.
And instead of getting to a situation where a human needs to be, already retrospectively did something that now there's no choice but firing that individual. I think it could bring a lot of improvement.
Yeah.
And can you imagine if we didn't have to do
Yeah.
all the audits, but just demonstrate to the auditor or customer your control points, really, that are trustworthy, not once a year type of validation of your process, but a continuous validation.
Yeah.
I think it has some
Wow.
interesting
And
opportunities.
it's like an audit comes in, they're there for 1 or 2 days and that's it. Everyone's on their best behavior, but actually, privacy stuff aside, continuously monitoring, you're like, yeah, what if someone is checking on the night shift? Someone's checking, making sure proactively someone's getting retrained and doing everything that they should. I think that's a safer food world for sure.
I know, but then, you struggle with, personal liberties and, the human aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit controversial from that standpoint, and we're quite a bit away from implementing it, but there could be an opportunity to do a few pilots and see what's, the pros and cons. And I don't know. I think the most important fact is the technology is here for us to lean in and to explore.
Yep.
So that's what I'm looking for this community. Like, bring some ideas.
Yeah.
Because like companies like my company, when we talk to clients, when we start with a certain project, but then they uncover some additional business opportunities that our tools very easily address. So just don't be shy. I mean, it's amazing what we can do now today.
Yeah. I love that. What else would you say to people starting off earlier in their career, QA, food safety? What would be like your one piece of advice that you would give?
I would say, do not get intimidated by the older generation, because we tend to be, just sometimes it looks like beacons of knowledge, and reality of it is you've yes, there's a lot of merit that comes with a ton of experience, no questions asked.
Yep.
But coupling that experience with something that this new generation brings,
Yeah.
and asking questions why, I think very, very important. And for the older generation of food safety and quality professionals, I'm asking you to be very kind to that, because, and providing the opportunity for these individuals to ask why, to explore, to just find new ways, support them on that.
Yeah.
We can do incredible things with the new generation, I'm telling you.
Yeah. So ask why. Have some reverence for the experience, but ask why and try to bring new ideas in.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
great. We had someone speak recently, Brian, and he said that the one person he wants to see speak is he wants to see people talk about food safety and AI. So, here you are.
Oh, here I am.
What
Awesome.
for you, like, I think it can be really jarring to jump into AI. What are the resources you'd recommend for people that want to learn about food safety, about AI, like, yeah, that are coming from maybe very little experience with it? Where do you learn? Where do you work at that intersection?
So very interesting. I can understand why Brian was asking about the opportunity to listen to somebody who specializes in food safety and the AI in food safety. Because for the last many, many years, myself as a senior leader in the industry, I have been desperately looking for anyone to give me better ways at governing food safety and quality, and I tangibly could not find one company who understood what I wanted and could provide me the right tools.
Yeah.
And so this is actually the reason why I'm here, because the frustration and the gap that I've seen that food safety professionals deal with on a daily basis was so obvious to me, and I thought, well, if there's nobody providing this, I will do it myself then. And so, going back to your question, where would people find information? I honestly had to. Well, first of all, I moved to Austin for this reason. So I'm surrounded now by innovators and people. Like, AI is just a part of the language.
Yeah.
My neighbors are just the most fascinating people, somebody who started a VR company and gaming, or professors at UT. So amazing conversations. So step number one, surround yourself with innovators and people who are curious about this technology. And step number two, for me personally, is you won't find it in food safety, really profound innovation in AI in food safety world, because we're not specializing in AI. Go to the source. So I follow, the top companies in this space and just subscribe to AI newsletters. And of course, my CTO is a graduate of UT's most prestigious engineering school. So his connections are amazing and knowledge is amazing.
Yeah.
So engaging conversations with him is always amazing to me.
So you would say, like, as a food safety person, go learn from the best in AI, go OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, like go see what they're doing, learn, and then see how you can apply it with your own knowledge base.
But also lean in. I mean, there's so many different AI tools on the market.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. I don't necessarily meet a lot of people who leverage tools like ChatGPT. And it's like, why not? Just try.
Yeah.
You will see your world is going to explode. Like my world exploded completely.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. I think the technology is just amazing. It saves you so much time. Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So lean in, dude. Try new things.
Yeah. It's a muscle to be built though, too.
Yes.
Like the first time you use ChatGPT, you're like, what is going on? And then as you improve and ask better questions, it becomes more valuable.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Vera, as we're wrapping up here, would love to hear, like, what are you guys doing at InnovaQ? What's your kind of elevator pitch on what you're doing? You've alluded to it a bit, but what's your spiel on what you guys are doing and the value you're adding?
Yeah, no, great question. So our mission is, as I've mentioned, is to modernize product quality for a safer world. That's what we're saying in terms of our mission. And what it means to us, we are bringing generative AI and data analytics to food safety and quality, to manufacturing, and we start with food and beverage, to improve and reduce complexities around regulatory requirements. So we really simplify that and help you embed compliance in your product or your process with ease. And second one is we really help you govern your quality process from A to Z, uniting all the data that right now is dispersed into one application that becomes your hub, your home base, for everything related to quality. So that's the first set of our tools. One of the tools is open to public. Please go on InnovaQ.com and see for yourself. You have a free demo. The product's name is InQ Knowledge Center for FDA compliance. So just play in it. Free demo doesn't cost you anything. But all the other products can be customized and are customized. So the applications just help you with your set of customized needs and gaps that you have in your manufacturing company. That's where we are.
Amazing. I'm sure everyone loves, someone with your background in food safety, leading teams across global standards. Like, I'm sure everyone will be excited to jump in.
Yeah, no, we look forward to hearing from people. And again, we love innovators. Right now, the game is just working with the brightest people who are not afraid of this new technology. It's been really exciting.
Yeah.
So we look forward to expanding our network.
Amazing. As
Awesome.
we wrap up here, would love to hear if you could see one person get interviewed on 30 food safety, who would you like to see and why?
That's interesting. I cannot name the person, but as I alluded before, I think it's incredibly interesting to invite people from other industries.
Yeah.
So a few examples come in mind, like if we could talk, say, about supplier quality with, say, an automotive company like Toyota, right?
Yeah.
They have a completely unique way of looking at this space, or fraudulent activities and learnings from banking industry.
Hmm.
They reduce their fraudulent activities using AI by 90%. I mean, tell us more. I
Yeah.
want to know. So I love these kind of interesting conversations. So
Yeah. You live for the cross-functional, right?
yes, cross-functional,
Cross
cross-industry.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, we'll do our best to get someone on here.
Well, thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck. You're doing just amazing work, also in line with what we are doing. I'm sure we're going to partner up going forward. But it's wonderful to have this conversation. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Vera.